My Paddy's
The
Pub Flip Cup champions.
championship
For those
team.
of you who watch the show, Philadelphia, flip. I love this show. All
I
courtesy
honestly
of
don't know
us.
what that is.
Courtesy of us. He
I
hooked me.
don't, I don't even know what that is. That's the whole point, man. So it's
The
like,
best,
you
only
know,
the best comedy in the past 20 years. Like it's the best,
that's
the best.
that's the thing. At least you could explain it, right? I'd just be, I'd be wearing that, and then people be like, "Are you actually part of a pub championship team?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I guess so." Yeah, I wouldn't be able to explain what it was, but yeah, man. In the green, red, whatever corner is my boy Ed's, representing Marvel, man. So how you doing, bro?
Bravo! I'm doing good, man, and I envy you. In fact, you've never seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That means you've got, what's it, 14 seasons or something, just sitting there on Netflix waiting for you one day to just
Do
sit
I
and
need do
watch.
I need to go, do I need to start watching that? Do I? It's
Why not? Why
the
not?
only
What's
the only
better to do?
experience I've ever had of that is basically them. I saw a news article. They said they were going to take out some episodes or something because they said that it wasn't.
It's yeah,
That's the only experience I've ever
it's
had
a
of it.
very close to the knuckle sort of comedy. They don't nothing's off limits. Abortion,
Hmm.
race, gender, politics. It's all on board. So that's why
Okay.
they had to get rid of a few episodes of the whole.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I see. Well, that sounds like the type of thing that I'd probably want to watch, to
Oh
be
yeah.
honest. So I will check that out at some point, man. So yeah, guys, we were away last week. That was my fault, but we're back here again. And we've got a lot of news to talk about. Before that, a little bit housekeeping, guys. I have managed to change the title of the podcast back to the DC versus Marvel podcast. So if you look up DC vs Marvel podcast, you'll see it. Not only that, I've also got the Facebook page back online there as well. Don't know how I remembered the login, but I found it. It's back, it's there, and already we're getting funny stuff posted on there, especially with the interesting interaction with a guy called Mo, who I want to explain myself there later that I wasn't actually. It may have come across a bit rude what I was trying to say there to you, but I was just, it's my sarcastic nature of what I was kind of saying. So we'll talk about that a bit later on. Anyways, man, yeah, a lot of DC and Marvel stuff to be talking about. But I just wanted to quickly, before we start that, just talk about another journey that I've had into Image Comics, right?
Ooh.
And like and quickly before I kind of talk about that there as well, like I just want to say, guys, listen, um, before I tell you the story, I'm the probably the dumbest person that you should ever follow in your life. Don't ever follow me. Don't ever get any financial advice from me. I am dumb as shit when it comes to finance. So this is not financial advice to anybody whatsoever, right? This is just what happened to me, basically, right? So quite often you log on to like Amazon, eBay, something like that. You see these little adverts that come up, right? And it says, get our Amazon credit card or get our eBay credit card or something like that, right? And most of the time I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, whatever, mate. I'm not really interested in this whatsoever, right? And I've got like credit cards for the business and stuff. And then I was looking into buying these Image comics, right? These graphic novels. And this thing comes up on Amazon and it says, sign up to our Amazon credit card and get £40 gift card for Amazon, right? So I'm like, okay, let me look at these like terms and conditions. So I looked through the terms and
What
conditions.
have you
I
done?
didn't see. Listen, I looked through the terms and conditions. There's no annual fee. There's no minimum payment. You don't even have to use the card. Full stop. But basically, I was like, right, fine. I signed up to it, got the £40 gift card, bought 10 graphic novels with it. And basically when the cards come, it's been cut up and junked, and I'm never, ever gonna use it because I've got cards that I use anyway.
Yeah.
So that card is just null and void. And it's just basically what's going to happen is after, like, in the terms and conditions, if you have 9 months of use, they're basically going to stop you from being able to use it. So I'm never going to use it. And I've now just got 10 graphic novels for free, basically.
That's actually genius. Oh, I take it back.
Right.
That's actually genius.
So yeah, so that was the thing. It was like, because I wanted to obviously experiment with the Image comics, and I didn't know, is this going to be good, is this going to be bad, whatever. But yeah, just 10
You did what
experiment.
many fallen soldiers have been unable to do, and that's beat Bezos at his own game. I love it.
Yeah, Bezos has sent me 40 quid's worth of graphic novels for what? I think what they do is they think, right, out of the 100 million people we're going to send this offer to, right, there's going to be 500,000 that are going to get into debt on this card, right?
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? So they lose like 40 quid at a time, but they've got like some people they're going to offer, because they offer some stupid level credit limits, right? And it's basically like they know some of those people are going to max it out day one, right? Are going to get in deep shit. But with me, it's just like I just wanted the graphic novels, man. So that's it. So that was done. And one of the graphic novels that I got was this thing here, right? Where is it? Let me just get it 1 second. Was this thing here called Bedlam, right?
Never heard of that. What's that about?
Now, guys, if you haven't read this and you're a DC fan, you need to get this and read this right now, because this, okay, if anyone from DC Comics is looking, this is the way that you should go with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, right? So basically, this story is quite interesting, okay? Let me just show you this. There's a guy in this called The First, right? Which, let me just show you. And it's like when they, obviously this is going to be on audio, right? So nobody's gonna hear this. But
I'll put this up.
You can put this up. So there's a guy in this who basically comes to stop this terrorist guy called Madder Jack, right? And basically this guy comes to stop him, and he only operates in the shadows, and he kind of comes from the top of buildings, and he's got this massive cape, and he's basically yeah. Batman, right? And Madder Jack is basically the Joker. So I'll find it for you later. I can't, it's too much of a mission right now.
So
but anyway,
Bedlam. When did that come out?
It came out in 2014, right? Okay. So basically the story of this is there's a guy, he's called Madder Jack, and he is a psychopath, right? And what he does is he goes around basically killing people. He goes around, he's got like no motive. He just goes around just doing stuff. He wants to create bedlam, in effect, right? Craziness, okay? So the First, which is like a kind of Batman kind of figure, tries to stop him, right? And eventually what happens is that the guy Madder Jack is like, right, I want to do my final, he calls it his final symphony, right? So what he does is he basically gets captured on purpose by the police, and he says to the police, he goes, around this city of Bedlam right now, there are 45 children that have bombs either in their bags, inside them somewhere, or in the school, right? And you've got a choice. You either kill me now, or all these kids are going to die, basically, right? So they've got this choice basically to go and do it. Now, what kind of happens is that the Madder Jack guy...
No crazy spoilers, because I might actually want to read this.
Yeah. Okay, let's skip over that thing. But basically, the Madder Jack guy, in essence, what happens to him is that he gets taken away by this hospital, and what they do at this hospital is they think that, like Arkham Asylum, they can reform criminals. So what they do is they take out parts of his brain, they do psychological like training and stuff like that, and after 10 years they basically think that they can rehab this dude, yeah, and they in effect rehab the Joker, right? Yeah. And then when he comes out, he kind of notices certain things, and he's looking at certain things, and there's a serial killer that's going around, right? And he just can't help himself, like looking at the clues and saying, this serial killer thinks this, because obviously he was the Joker. He knows this kind of stuff. So what he does is he goes up to the police, and kind of like Hannibal, he basically goes and helps the police catch this serial killer, right?
Mm.
So it's in effect like the Joker being rehabbed, going to Gotham City and basically helping the Gotham City PD catch another serial killer.
So it's
Right.
Dark Knight and freaking Silence of the Lambs all combined. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and it's like, is he rehabbed or is it? There's like little hints in there. Is he rehabbed or is he not rehabbed? Or it's kind of crazy. And is he? The thing is, nobody knows it's him. Right, everybody thinks it's somebody else, just some mad guy who's helping the police, right? But only the people who know it's him is the doctor and this weird and wonderful kind of hospital.
I love it when other people are able to do mainstay superheroes better than the actual original like DC, like with the boys as well. The way they do it as well, it's like they just do it in a superior way. That's just like, why can't it actually be this way? Why does it take these other companies and these sort of generic fake versions actually do it better? Just so frustrating.
I think that would be such a cool way of doing it, because it would literally be like, is he rehabbed? Is he not rehabbed? Is he crazy? Why is he trying to help people? All this kind of stuff. It's like some of the stuff that he does in it is just like, he's not still like 100% there. Yeah. And the way they rehab him, holy shit. It's like, wow, they just went overboard and try to rehab this guy, man. But yeah, it's really interesting. This guy, apparently this author, is notorious for making 1 or 2 volumes and then just quitting and never writing another one, right?
Just giving up on his stories.
Yeah, so apparently there's 2 volumes of this. So there's 1 volume, which is the one that I've got. I've ordered the 2nd volume there as well. There's no 3rd volume, right? And it apparently just like ends basically, and then it's like, oh damn, was he ever really rehabbed? Was he ever really whatever? It kind of just ends. So because I went on the internet, I looked up on Reddit and stuff, and I was like, is there a volume 3? All these people are asking, is there a volume 3? And then other people were saying, well, this is quite typical of the guy who writes these books, that he writes these crazy mad ass beginnings for these stories, and then he just gives up and says, sod it, I'm going on to another project.
So he doesn't think at the end, he just kind of
he just goes like that. It's the same like with this other one. This Scott Snyder wrote this thing called Witches, which is also like absolutely awesome. But then what happened is that DC saw what he was doing for Witches when he chipped from DC for a while, and told him to come back and do the Batman Who Laughs. So he went back, did the Batman Who Laughs, and abandoned Witches. And Witches is an amazing graphic novel. So there's never been a volume 2 of it. So some of these are quite annoying. But one of the things that it did tell me, all of this kind of stuff, is I started reading the Walking Dead graphic novels, right? And I've actually got a feeling that I want to watch the program again now, because it's kind of given me a new appreciation of what it is. Because I'm kind of reading it and thinking, okay, if most of the time you read a book and then you watch a film and it's like the film never lives up to the book, right? Like with Martian, it did this. I hated the Martian film because the book is just so much better. But even though it's a good film, right? But with this, it kind of seems like the graphic novel kind of makes the show better, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like I'm now gonna read like kind of all the volumes up until like maybe like, because I quit after like the 2nd season, and I'm gonna read all the volumes up to the end of the 2nd season and start reading them as I watch the new ones, and I'll let you guys know what I think.
The show divert? Well, it can't divert that dramatically because it still got to the point where Negan comes up and he's in the books. So I guess it does kind of follow.
It diverts in some bits. So like in the first, because I've never read it, right? In the first one, there's the sheriff and his kid, and then there's Shane, who was played by Punisher dude. Yeah. And basically what they do is in John Berthel, in the show, they leave him to get killed by zombies, right? But actually in the book, it's the son who kills him, because he sees the dad, the sheriff, and John Bernthal's character fighting, and he gets taught earlier how to use a gun so he can use it against zombies, because he's a 6-year-old kid. He doesn't know, and he just sees somebody fighting his dad and he decides to shoot him, and he basically kills him. So that's an interesting kind of thing. So just want to see like how the book takes it in comparison to the other bits there as well. So I could be going down a rabbit hole there. I'm just
Yeah.
So
we never got to mention last week, but I guess you mentioned Walking Dead and something that's like a very, very generic version of The Walking Dead. Why the Last Man? Talking about the live action version that was on Disney Plus or Hulu in the States. Cancelled. They gave up on it even before it was finished airing. Can't be say we're surprised, man.
Not surprised, to be honest, because they just took it the wrong way. They went. The thing is, I wouldn't have even made that. Never would have made it, because the problem is nowadays you've got this thing that you can basically rub anyone up the wrong way, right? And a show like this, people are not going to take. Then they're not going to take like views of like science or anything like that. There's all this kind of airy fairy kind of thoughts in people's heads, and it's kind of like not what the reality would be. And if you show the reality, then suddenly people don't like it, and it's just not going to go anywhere.
Minded, but it didn't even take any real strong swings on any particular stance of anything. It was just kind of just dragged itself along.
I think that's the point, because they can't take any strong on any side, because they're going to end up being cussed from ones. It would have been better, 100%. Even whatever way they went, it would have been better. But basically with this, it's kind of like, okay, we don't want to offend this people, we don't want to offend that people, we just want to make this kind of show. And it's always going to turn out wrong, man. Shows like that need to be made by people who don't give a stuff, and probably people like that are like in another country, like they'll just make it. And sometimes I watch a show, like I'll watch something on Netflix that is in another language, like in Spanish or Danish or something, and it's like they'll say certain things on it. It's like, you can't say
they don't give a damn. They're not they haven't fallen into the habits that English speaking countries have all kind of gotten bogged down by. It's like, you people just moan about everything. We don't care.
Yeah, you need to make it in China or something. They won't give it stuff, man. Make it in Russia.
Not China.
Make it in Russia.
Russia.
Make it in Russia, and they'll just they'll just go off on one bit. In fact, they'll make Yorick into this major hero of Russia.
I was watching some video about China. They can't even do proper horror films because they can't have ghosts. They can't have anything like mystery in it. And if they do, it has to always be revealed that it was either hallucinations that people were seeing, or it was someone dressed up like a Scooby-Doo villain. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. I want to give you a shout out for recommending to not recommending, but kind of like saying how funny Halloween Kills was, right? Because me and my wife and my sister-in-law watched Halloween Kills last night. We were laughing our heads off throughout the whole thing. It is the dumbest.
No one can shoot. Thing. Point blank, no one can shoot. He's right in front of them. He's walking, never runs, and they still can't hit him.
It was just like the whole craze. There's this one bit, right, where basically just the doctor's running past Laurie Strode, and she punches him for no reason. He just falls over. She just beat up a doctor for no reason.
So mad. And did you
brilliant.
Get to the point near the end where all the people in that little town all just surrounded Jason, or was it Michael Myers? Were you at the point where you were cheering for Michael? Where it was like, come on, Michael, kill him. Kill him, Michael.
I was thinking, why haven't they called the army or anything? But they're like, he's terrorized this town for 40 years. It's like, no, he killed a few people. He ended up in jail, a psychiatric jail. He's been there for 40. He hasn't. He's been in jail for 40 years.
Exactly.
And now he's got
to be in his 70s, but they managed to make this psycho killer the hero. And this town, the enemy. Like, you hated everyone. Then when he got back up, spoiler alert, who gives a shit? When he got back up, I was cheering. I was like, yeah. It was
yeah, exactly. It was quite hilarious film, man. But anyways, let's get to some DC and Marvel, man, because that is what we are here for. And Brendan Fraser, who's a guy who seems to have been in the wilderness for a long time. I don't know what happens. Some kind of mission with him, his marriage or something like that, made him just go kaput. But he got back into Doom Patrol with DC, and now he's going to be playing Firefly in Batgirl, which is an interesting role because kind of how do I put this? Firefly is meant to be this small guy who basically has this kind of like jetpack and flies around and fires flames at people, right? And Brendan Fraser is not
he's gotten
small, lithe kind of.
He's enjoyed quarantine. He enjoyed himself in quarantine.
And if we say it's quarantine from when he he stopped making films, I guess, or whatever, right?
He was a little chubby, but he wasn't really full on fat in the flashbacks in Doom Patrol. He was just a little more stockier, but so something happened in those like the last 2 or 3 years that he just kind of but he's still good. He was in some other movie that came out beginning of this year, which he was really good in. So it's gonna be fun.
But he's a decent actor, and he's entertaining.
But what the hell is this Batgirl? This is what I still don't understand. You've got this. Like I don't give a damn about the race, but she's mixed race. So is she then Jim Gordon from Robert Pattinson's?
No,
Batman?
she's not.
But
she's not.
What the
because it's been announced that the Jim Gordon from BVS is the one who is playing. He's playing her father in effect. So is that Jim Gordon?
Okay, so he's
so is that Jim Gordon, which is weird because then it's like, okay, this is the problem for me. They need to, if they establish an order. So Flash came out first, and you establish, because we're going to come to this a bit later when we talk about Eternals, right? The general public, are not bothered about looking into the background of anything or reading into anything or anything like that. So when you start showing a Batman here and then a Batgirl, which is in a totally different universe, they're not going to understand. You have to establish the Flash film first to say there is a multiverse. This is what a multiverse is. This is there are different people who exist in different things. And then once you've established that, people be like, oh, it's from a different universe. You can't let them kind of think, they have to be told, you know what I mean? So
I got people in my office who I use as guinea pigs for these sort of things. Like they enjoy superhero films, but they're not clued into the whole multiverse and universe and all of that. And they don't understand any of this. They're scratching their head like, okay, so you got Michael Keaton's back. So what happened to the other guy? And then we got the Twilight dude as well. Like, what's that? They're baffled. They have no clue.
Yeah. Michael Keaton's back and Ben Affleck. And Robert Pattinson, all playing the same character, right? It is basically gonna baffle the hell out of the general public. They're just gonna be like, "What the hell is going on in this thing, man?" So I can kind of understand it. I like the fact that they're getting the one thing that I heard from this is that basically they're getting a lot of the stunt coordinators from the Raid in this, so that kind of makes me think, okay, some of the fights might be decent in this, but at the same time,
who is the director? Because then we could have a Snake Eye situation where you had good choreography, which you can't see. You don't see on screen. You just see the shaking heads and arms. Like,
I think that's part of the problem, is that basically you can have good choreography, but unless the actor themselves is doing the choreography, you can't show close-ups. So they have to keep panning in and out, because it's kind of like, we got to show somebody doing the kicks and then pan out and say, oh, it's,
but they did do it in Snake Eyes. They just didn't know how to shoot it.
Yeah.
So oh, good. Wow.
Yeah, but
what's the tone of this going to be, man?
That is the thing. It's all about what is the tone going to be, because is it going to be like a happy, fun kind of tone or whatever? I mean, it seems like a lot of these, they don't seem to know kind of what route to go down. We're talking about Wonder Woman there before, and they were saying, oh, the route they want to go down with that is Wonder Woman's all about love and how much love she shows to people. And it's like, no, what are you talking about? Have you ever seen a comic book in your life? Right, there's nothing like that there at all. She like goes and like fights flipping serpents and flipping, and minotaurs and and,
Should
all
be
these other,
heading muggers' heads and holding them up and leaving them for the police to find in the concrete. That's what she should be doing.
Exactly. And then people are like, is she a villain? Or is she, you know,
that would be a more interesting one.
That would be a more interesting one. Yeah, because that's kind of the point. If you imagine if, right, this is the thing that always cracks me up. Okay, from day one, right? You know, we talk about nature versus nurture. Now, they're actually bred to have genetics in a certain way, number one. Number two, from day one, they're taught how to fight as a soldier, how to that they're taught this insular nature that they basically are gonna have a battle against them, right? Kind of like you see some of these like Middle Eastern countries where they're always getting to, well, forget about Middle Eastern, North Korea, where they're always taught we're going to have somebody coming in, they're going to fight us, they're going to try and kill us, right? So they get taught from day one, you must fight. This is how you fight. This is how, you know, and obviously then they've got that mentality in their heads. What the hell are the Amazons going to be like if they encountered other people? They're going to kill them first.
Exactly. That's their whole existence. They're women that had to band together because in that medieval world, women were like considered the weakest. They were considered victims that the men would prey on. So they came together, trained as warriors, became the strongest they could be, and killed everybody. So, and now they're just hugging people and smiling at little girls, handing them flowers.
So what is the Batgirl going to be like? Is the Batgirl going to follow that template? That is going to be like, oh, what worries me about that is, are they going to go kind of like the Batgirl Burnside way, which is kind of like somebody who keeps showing all their antics on social media and stuff, like, look how I kicked the crap out of this guy, you know, showing themselves on TikTok.
You've just figured it out. You've just figured it out. That's what it's going to be. She's going to film herself. Yeah. Oh God. That's it.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, she's making TikTok videos. She's gonna be dancing. I bet every scene when she has a little routine, the bat dance.
Which is kind of, yeah, which is like, you know, beating people up and like, look what I can do and blah blah. And yeah, that's my worry. That is my worry. And I think I'm really hoping it doesn't go down that route. But yeah, never know, man. So let's go on to some Marvel, man, and this is like an ongoing kind of story there at the moment with the Eternals, which I think does that come out next week? That comes out next week, end of next week, right?
And I'm not looking forward to it. I'm gonna see it, but I just can't see it being appealing. I just don't know what it is about it.
Why I don't understand about this? What I don't understand about this is they're using the same argument against this that they're using against Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, people don't know the characters. It's like nobody knew Guardians of the Galaxy, but Guardians of the Galaxy was made in a certain way that you know, you ended up liking all the characters and stuff, right? So, you know, the issue, I can't, from what I've read, the issues with this is that it doesn't know what route it wants to go down. So I don't know if you remember that horrendous Fantastic Four film that was made by Josh Trank and then kind of got taken over by what's his name, Simon Kinberg. And what happened was that Josh Trank wanted this kind of continuation of that what's that Chronicle that he made there before. So it was kind of like continuation of that, you know, and they had these kind of like body horror, David Cronenberg style kind of stuff, and that was the tone. And then the tone kind of shifted to this kind of like, oh, we've all got to team up together and kind of fight against Doom, and you know, totally all over the place. This from what I'm reading in the reviews, sounds similar, that they want to create this like epic kind of thing, but then at the same time also want to create the MCU formula, and that's why it's not kind of gelling. I mean, you know, how often did you, as you know, as a Marvel fan, come across the Eternals in your entire life?
I honestly can't even remember. Like, they were, I heard them mentioned, but I never read a single comic. Don't ever think they ever popped up in any comics I was reading. Yeah, they were on the fringes, definitely.
I was even thinking, right, I might just check out a graphic novel of theirs, just see, you know, what they're about and stuff. And I saw kind of one, Neil Gaiman had written one, you know. But then I was thinking, you know, then it's like, okay, you know, what kind of style is that going to be? Because there's another one, like Robert Kirkman wrote one there as well, which is a guy who wrote Walking Dead. It's kind of like it's going to be very different styles there. Can't quite understand like how
is Gaiman's like a reboot, another origin?
It's only made a few years ago. I haven't read it, but I just kind of was looking and thinking maybe I'll just get a little bit of background before I go in there, because this is the problem, right? It's like, everybody thinks that every film is made for them. Like literally every film is made for them. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go and see an Aquaman film. Okay, that's fine. Do you know anything about Aquaman? You ever read an Aquaman comic? You ever, anything about the character, anything about any of those people? No. Well, then you got to cater to those people who know absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
Also at the same time as people who know a little bit about it, and also people who know a crap ton of it there as well. And that creates huge problems. So with Eternals, it's kind of like, apparently it's got a very deep backstory. So they're really going to have to explain that like crazy. And apparently there's a lot of exposition in this, trying to explain, the storyline and the characters.
That's a lot of the complaints I've read, that it's just too long. Just tries to cram too much in. And then you've got the people that have been shit rating it on Rotten Tomatoes that haven't even seen the film. So I heard that they cut off the audience score because of people hearing about that there's that LGBTQ character that they weren't into. But I know it just.
But didn't they change Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah, didn't they change Rotten Tomatoes so you needed to have a ticket? I'm sure they changed it so you need to have a ticket before you can do the audience score or something. I don't know what that mission is about. Yeah. But I kind of agree with you when I look at it. So I compare this a lot to Guardians of the Galaxy, because I knew nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy before I watched it. But it's just like, you look at it, you're like, there's a bloody talking tree in this, and there's a bloody raccoon that's running around with a massive gun and stuff. This is interesting, man. However weird this is going to be, I want to see it. It's so bizarre, right?
Honestly, it shouldn't matter as long as it's a good film, good characters that are fleshed out. That should all only thing that really matters. And there's nothing wrong with it having a different tone. Like I say that it looks dull, that doesn't mean it should all be full of jokes the way Guardians was. I'm okay with them trying to push it a bit, but that's what I'm starting to hear, is that they're still trying to cram in some elements of that formula. But where else
I think the problem with this is it's not wacky enough. So so with a lot of characters, you get a lot of characters from Marvel and DC, and a lot of these independent companies will come and they'll take them and they'll change them around a bit, and they'll kind of make them a little bit weird, or basically like uber characterize them or whatever. So for example, like you get Homelander, who's like a really kind of messed up version of Superman or Ultraman, as it were. And then you've got you've got the what's it called, the ones in Invincible, right? So you've got the Invincible characters, and they're kind of like that. In this, the problem that you have is kind of the characters are very similar to better known characters, but at the same time, there's not enough to make it seem like, okay, this is like a weird version of it. So like in The Boys, you got a really kind of weird version of the Flash, right? And you got multiple speedsters in it. In this, you got a version of the Flash. You got somebody who runs around really quickly. You got somebody who flies and shoots laser beams out of their eyes. I'm sorry, that's bloody the same as Superman. You've got another one who's basically a warrior, basically a warrior woman with a massive sword who goes around like killing people. It's the Justice League, but made like it's not different enough.
I'm gonna hold off of that argument until I see it, to really see how they portray these characters. I can't really judge that yet at this point, so we'll find out next week.
See, this is the protectionist nature.
I have to give it a chance. I can't judge it on the trailer. Come on.
You just said you didn't want to see. You weren't excited for it.
I'm not. I'm gonna see it. Even though,
at the end of the day, we're all going to see these films every single time anyway. You know, what I mean?
It's
as if
not
we're
a good
never going to
sign that
see it.
it's not a good sign that I'm actually more excited for House of Bloody Gucci with Lady Gaga than I am to see the Eternals.
Yeah. Well, that it's sometimes like you know, a trailer will come out the same week as like another film's coming out, and it kind of just totally overshadows it, which is you know, which is weird. So I'm trying to stay away from that. You know, that stuff about you know, the new Spider-Man. They've found like a low res version of it. I'm
Yeah.
trying to just stay away from all of that stuff because people are
Every
like,
other
there's
day,
a
leaked details, leaked photos. Nope, not staying right away. Not clicking on
no.
none of them.
There's like a whole leaked script out there, and I'm just
Oh
like,
God.
no way am I going near a leaked script in a
Sony,
million years, man.
Sony, get
So
your house in order, please.
the thing is with that is that, you know, I'm all for like these characters being held by you know, different companies that have different takes and stuff like that, but Sony are literally the most dumbest company you can ever think of, right? And they're not only do they not keep their intellectual property safe, but also at the same time it's like they seem to only know one way of doing things, and they literally just go through and do things exactly that one way, like every single time. So you know, I can't see any, you know, any kind of difference, you know, in this. So I don't know, man. I will definitely see it on opening night and
Yeah.
stuff, but it's you know, it's just one of those things, man. So the going back to DC, we've got Valzod has been confirmed by Michael B. Jordan as, you know, as the character that they're going to be using, which is interesting. At least it's not Calvin Ellis, which is, you know, an Obama version basically,
Okay.
which would have rubbed a lot of weird people up the wrong way. But
Tell me about Valzod. Is he pre-existing?
Valzod is pre-existing. You know, he's from another Earth there, basically. He turned up in Crisis, and
Okay.
yeah, decent character. You know, he's the Superman of another Earth in the future there as well.
Is that the
So
light blue and silver suit?
yep, blue and silver. Yeah. So it's slightly different to the Calvin Ellis suit. It is the, you know, but I'd be interested in it, man, because I'm always interested in when they take these characters and just kind of just like put them in a different environment, in a different way they were raised, and, you know, how would they you know, grow up, especially with Valzod's Earth is like, is not like our Earth. There's like limited resources there, and, you know, there's a lot more kind of strife and fight. I mean, it's not as if there's not any fighting on this bloody Earth, but on the but on that Earth, there's much less resources and stuff, and they're all kind of, you know, they're you know, his own government's corrupt and other governments are corrupt, and, you know, it's just kind of, you know, like going through there. So that, I think, would be an interesting route to go down to.
Was this one only going to be in HBO Max, or was this also going to be cinema?
It's a HBO, yeah, HBO Max. So this is the one that is being produced by what's his name? By no, so Michael B. Jordan is directing, and it's being produced by what's his name's company? Oh, I can't remember what his name is now. Pretty famous director. I'm so crap with names, man. So you know, the guy who directed the Star Wars, you know, the first one of the sequels. JJ Abrams.
Yeah.
So JJ's Bad Robot. That's it. Bad Robot production company.
And he's still possibly doing his own Superman.
Yeah. So he's got multiple projects that is going there at the moment. There's that. He's also got a producer credit on Green Lanterns, apparently. I don't know what's going on there.
This guy don't produce anything. He just turns up, signs a contract, like, and then just walks on. That's
yeah. I wish Michael Bay would do that. I wish he'd just turn up, sign a contract, and walk off. But he sticks around, so it's a problem, man. He actually stays there, and does that. So yeah. Potentially interesting take that is going on there as well. So the Dr. Fate stuff, we're going to talk about that there as well. But I read an article like a couple of hours ago, which kind of is saying that the other stuff about Dr. Fate is is garbage. It's not real. So until it gets actually properly properly said by The Rock, because he's the one who gives all the information about his Black Adam film, that's the only time we're really going to talk about it. So you had this room about Thunderbolts, right? Which is basically General Ross's team, potentially, that they're going to make something of that with the Captain America guy from Falcon and Winter Soldier, Red Hulk, which is General Ross, I guess, but I don't know how they're going to turn him to Red Hulk, and Zemo, and I can't remember who else, somebody else. So they're thinking about, it's going to kind of like be the bad guys doing things that are kind of Suicide Squaddy.
The Seinfeld chick being a part of it as well.
Oh yes, the Dame, what's her face? I can't remember what her name is. Yeah, she's. What did she turn up? She turned up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Falcon and the Black Widow.
Yes, yeah. So Valentina something. So she's going to be in it there as well. So I guess they're going to be doing these undercover operations and stuff like that. So that could be interesting, man. Making them all kind of work together. And seeing. I'd love to see Red Hulk on screen, man. That would be crazy.
You're saying that this has got to be a Disney Plus thing. It's can't be a movie.
Yeah, Disney Plus. Yeah, but this is a thing. It's not it's not confirmed, but this is kind of the rumor of what's going on.
So they're building to it, so makes sense.
Yeah. So because there's that, and obviously they've got a Secret Wars Disney Plus show going on there as well. Yeah. So potentially this kind of stuff really interests me, because I kind of think more than WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, this kind of stuff interests me a lot more, because I kind of think there's going to be Shang-Chi's team, not his team, but his sister's team.
Yeah.
They're making a show off, and the Thunderbolts, and Secret Invasion, and you got 3 different teams. Right, that interests the shit out of me, because I think these 3 are going to have their own agendas. Like each one's going to want to be doing its own thing. I mean, there's one load that are a group of aliens that don't want to be seen by anybody, and also then the Shang-Chi team there as well, and also the Thunderbolts. I think is going to be kind of crazy if they do lead up to that. That actually does excite me quite a bit if that is true. But yeah, I don't know, is it going to happen or not?
Ensembles always work better when it's like a group of people rather than just being focused on 1 or 2. So yeah, it is a lot more fun. The prospect of what those shows are going to be. Just give me them now.
Just throw them right over now. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. So now some news from Sony there as well. So you heard what Tom Holland pitched to Sony when Sony said that they're going to take Spider-Man away from MCU, basically. He pitched the Craven film to them, and he also pitched the fact that Spider-Man could fall through a portal and end up in Venom's world, right? In effect. What do you think about any of those ideas? Because I thought Craven was happening anyway. I don't know. Was it meant to be happening?
They were going to do they've announced, or I don't know if it was officially announced, but they're saying they're doing their own Craven origin thing. So again, I don't like that, because then he's going to have to be a hero. Because if it's his film, I doubt, because Sony don't have the sense to do it the way that Joker was done, where he managed to maintain being, ended up being a bad guy. But was it really the Joker? I didn't really feel like.
No,
that's a whole other argument. But
yeah,
I don't know. But I like the fact of bringing Craven and together. That story should be told, man, because we need to see different villains in the Spider-Man films to kind of recycle. I'm sick of Goblin. I don't ever need to, even though we will in the next one, I don't ever need to see Goblin ever again, whichever version of it is, because it's too much.
I think you're right about the villain stuff, because I don't want to see, like, Rhino, he can't feed his kids or whatever, so that's why he goes on a rampage to steal stuff. I don't want to know that stuff. I want Rhino to be like a horrible villain. You don't want to sympathize with a dude like that. You know what I mean? They can have
This could be how they do the Venom thing. This could be how Venom and Spider-Man come together in a film where they first meet and they have that rival, but then you have this apex, the way that Craven views himself as the apex predator, hunting both of them.
Yes.
Both of them are these enemies, so they have to come together to take the guy out. That's probably how they're probably going to do something like that.
Fighting the symbiote would be Craven's like ultimate, basically. Yeah. So that would be the thing. Did you ever get to listen to Old Man Star-Lord podcast? Because if you haven't, listen to it, man. Old Man Star-Lord is basically made from the same guys who made the Wolverine story podcast, which went on for like 2 or 3 seasons. And Craven's in it. And basically, he ends up finding out that Peter's Quill has come back to Earth. And he's like, right, I need to hunt this dude down, because basically he's hunted everybody. He's hunted down Captain America, all these kind of people. And now he's like, Peter Quill's here. It's like a demigod, basically. He needs to kind of, hunt this guy down. And a lot of it is Peter Quill has now lost a lot of his powers and is like an old dude, basically being hunted down by Craven. And the way they do it is quite cool. They're basically like, the world's been taken over by Doctor Doom, and they have things on TV which are like, oh, Craven's our hero, and he's going to go and hunt down this like bad guy, Peter Quill. And Peter Quill's this horrible like guy, like Craven. Look at Craven, he shot him, he's got him in the leg, he's bleeding, like that. It's like people cheering on the TV and stuff for this bad guy Craven. Yeah, exactly. It's like that. It'll be cool if they did something like that, but I don't know, man. If they make Craven into a good guy, like the only reason why I did it is because his family in Russia were starving, and they couldn't feed anybody, so he went and killed a bear with his bare hands so they could eat, and he just got the taste for being a hunter, and that's the story. Like, that would suck, man.
You've just reminded me though, didn't they announce that Aaron Taylor, what's his face, the kick-ass dude, is Craven?
Yes,
and that completely takes away any excitement for me to see him on live screen. Like, I don't hate the guy. Like, I'm not gonna crap on him that way, but I don't see him. He has to go a long way to really convince me that he can pull that off. Because I want Craven to be like a 6'5", just a hunting machine, man. I don't this little 5'8".
This is the thing. Like when we I put this thing up on the Facebook page. Which is basically almost exactly about this, because we were talking about how what are the best and worst accents that you've ever seen in film, right? Because somebody was saying that they've only just seen the Black Widow film and seen Ray Winston and his like horrendous accent, right? Terrible. So I put up a question on there: what was the best and worst? And Aaron Taylor Johnson, they said his British accent is in Tenet is like one of the best British accents that you can hear, right? Okay, I'm like, okay, I mean, it's not bad, but it's clearly not great either.
So he's British.
Is he British?
Yeah.
Okay, well then that kind of takes the shine.
That's
off
what I was laughing, because I thought they realize
the shine off it. That kind of takes the shine off it even more, doesn't it? So yeah. The result of that, the number one thing that came of that was Sean Connery's Russian accent in Hunt for Red October.
Any Sean Connery film, like what, Highlander, wasn't he supposed to be Spanish via Egypt? What?
Oh yes,
no attempt.
They're just exactly. Just like forget it. Forget Sean Connery doing any accent. One of my favorite horrendous accents was another Russian one, but Harrison Ford in K-19, the Widowmaker.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That was not good.
Yeah, which was not great, man. So
the honorary mention, just to show Britain. I know there's a lot of British actors in America right now in Hollywood doing their thing, but Benedict Cumberbatch doesn't do a good American accent to me. And I don't need to be American to realize it's not good.
Do you know why they don't pick regions properly?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he's meant to be from New York. That's not a New York accent. It's kind of like a
No.
Midwestern kind of twangy accent, and it kind of
doesn't know
comes out a
what the
bit
fuck.
wrong. So you know, if you're going to be a guy who's operated in New York his whole life, really should kind of be putting on a New York kind of accent. You know what I mean? Which I guess Margot Robbie kind of learned a bit more because it became more twangy, more like, you know, that kind of you know, twang as she went along.
I never understood this, but bizarrely, she sounded more like Harley Quinn in Wolf of Wall Street, and then she completely changed it. Later on, when she was playing her, she wasn't doing the accent that she did in Wall Street. Wall Street, she had it down perfectly. That sort of Queens, Brooklyn sort of, that she didn't do it.
Maybe told to calm it down a bit. I don't know. The less talked about that Suicide Squad, the better. Coffee, yeah. So the scene in Endgame, apparently there's I don't know why we're talking about this now, because it's like been a while since Endgame's been out and this scene has been talked to death. But the scene when you had all the female superheroes coming out, apparently that was potentially seen as pandering, so they shot a number of other scenes before that to make that seem less like pandering,
to set it up
later on. I don't know why that's a story. Why is that a story? It's like okay, yeah, of course they're gonna shoot more scenes there before to make it seem better.
It just exposes that it just exposes that the directors had completely overlooked all the women and only had the guys doing cool shit up until that moment where they're like, oh, we should get them all together to do something. And then they figured, you know what, we should probably make them do other stuff further earlier on. So yeah, it's
because that, you know, that stuff, the thing, you know, the kind of stuff that they were doing, I think was somewhat better in the Infinity War rather than in Endgame. Like, you know, the stuff when they were all fighting against Proxima, and you know, I thought that was quite cool. But yeah, they, you know, whatever it's a scene, man, at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Give me the A-Force movie. Come on, let's do it.
Well, yeah, let's see if that ever comes out. One group of people that you never want to be
all together celebrating someone, and something happens that they have to all fight together. That's the excuse to get them all together.
The excuse to get them all together to fight against somebody. Yeah, somebody's gonna say, you know what, that is sexist, man. Saying that they're all gonna link out, they're all gonna link up on a hen night. They should be on the shooting range. Like shooting targets or something. Some idiot's gonna say something like that, aren't they? You're gonna say, you know, that was wrong. But one group of people that you don't want to be producing A-Force under any circumstances whatsoever is the people who are producing and directing Batwoman, because the stuff that has been coming out about that, man, goodness me.
I see a documentary, I'll sniff a documentary a few years from now about this whole thing.
Yeah. Now, this is the thing, like, there's a lot that's come out and kind of, you know, people been rubbishing what Ruby Rose has been saying. Guys, just a really kind of quick, brief kind of overview of what she's been saying is basically she was forced to kind of, you know, film on during injuries. They saw a stunt woman basically crushed by a set, which we know is legit because there was news about that.
Paraplegic now, isn't it?
Yeah, and they were told, like, literally, you know, just straight after, you better go and film your scene, like literally, like straight after that.
Somebody caught fire.
Somebody caught fire. There was the basically Dougray Scott, who I think he's an Irish actor. I don't think he's British. I think he's Irish, right? He kind of he decided that he didn't want to be part of this shit show, so he went to speak to his agent, and his agent was like, "Nah, mate, you're contracted to this, right? But like 2 series, yeah." So after that, he just decided to act like an absolute knob on set to try and get forced to be chucked off, right? So apparently he's had horrendous antics like bullying people, speaking bad to people, like just acting like an idiot.
Has anyone else except her mentioned that?
No, well, there's other people on there, like the guy who plays Batwing on there as well, Lucius
Yeah.
Fox. He is saying that it's all garbage. He goes that
Yeah.
she was basically like taken off for a reason, whatever. And I think like most things, the truth kind of lies somewhere in between.
She should have just stayed at the whole safety issue on set. Would have been fine. Everyone would have been on her side then. The moment she started mentioning names of other actors and how they weren't professional, that's when the can of worms opened up where everyone was like, hold up, you were bullying PAs, you were the diva. It was originally said that it was a mutual parting of ways, but then once she had to open her mouth, that's when CW was like, or the other actors, the Batwing dude, was blatantly, no, you got fired, and that's hard to get fired when you're the star of a show. And that shows you how bad you were on set. So yeah, she kind of shot herself in the foot.
Yeah, it's just like, at that point, I kind of don't understand why people go around saying things like that. Because look, there's only a few kind of games in town, okay? Yep. And it's like your job is that you can't do anything else in life. Nope. So why are you shooting yourself in the foot and just kind of, you do that when you retire. You know, when you're about to retire and you cast everybody and you say goodbye.
In your autobiography. Yeah, that's what you do then. But this is the modern age, man. People want to be the champion of something and have people tweet them and say, "Oh, you're a hero. We thank you for speaking up." That's how it is. Everyone wants to be the center of attention now. So
yeah, as there's this one what's it called? One guy called Tony Robbins. You probably heard of him. He's like a motivational guru kind of thing. I don't really listen to anything that he says, but one of the things that he did say is tweets don't pay the bills, right? So basically, you can get like 10 million retweets. That ain't gonna do nothing for you, right? You basically need to, how is that gonna affect your income stream? It never does, right? So you're going for clout on something that means absolutely nothing. And when I'm reading stuff like this, unfortunately, it makes me think of Ray Fisher, right? And because it kind of, and to some extent, what's his name? The Smollett, what's his name?
Jesse
Smollett, yeah. Who basically they're trying to get clout for something, and at the same time, it's like, look, mate, once you've made it to like the top levels, right? Just then you can go and let rip. You can go and say this, that, whatever. And it's like, you can go and make noises about absolutely anything. When you're like down at the bottom or just getting on the step ladder, mate, you don't want to be coming out with that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just absolutely silly. I see people like this, like nowadays, right? So for example, I where I work, right, and I say this all the time. I'm not going to say her name because if she ever listens to this, she's going to be horrified. We've basically got at work, we've got a new nurse there. She's 19 years old. Okay, youngster, right? Okay. I'm a senior surgeon at this place, yeah. And I've been doing this nearly 20 years, right? And she goes and she sees me first time. She goes, "All right, Uz, how you doing?" Like that, yeah. And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much." Now go around. And I say to one of the other surgeons there, I'm like, "Who is that?" They're like, "Oh yeah, it's the trainee nurse." And I'm like, I was like, when I was a junior doctor in hospital, right? If I went up to my consultants and said, "You're right, Paul, how you doing, mate?" Like that, he'd be like, I would be doing records for the next like month. I would be doing any surgery whatsoever. They'd send me down to records and say, "Oh, you've got to find this patient's notes or that." Basically, it's like I kind of feel sorry for this kid because she doesn't understand that this is not the way that you speak to seniors, right? And she's being friendly and stuff, but it's not, it's not the way. Like you do that when you're at like a different kind of level, you know what I mean? But it's just a very different way of the way that these youngsters talk nowadays to the way that I mean, even if I'm talking to somebody who's in their 60s, I'm not going to go and speak to them by their first name. I'll call them Mr. or I'll call them whatever, or uncle or something like that, you know what I mean?
I wish I had that. Something in me, I have a problem doing that sort of stuff. I don't know why.
Do you? So
I just
you're
don't
one
know
of
why.
those people.
Yeah, I am.
Right?
I don't like calling
You're
people
one-
boss. I don't like calling people sir. I hate all of that. It's like, no, you're a
Oh,
human being. So am I.
I don't like sir either. I think sir is horrendous. Like basically, like when I go to a restaurant or something, and somebody goes, "Oh, sir, can I take your?" It's like, don't put yourself below me. You're not below me, right? You know, you're coming here to like, give us food or whatever. That's the kind of thing. But at the same time, I kind of think if you're in a profession and there's somebody who's
Yeah,
senior to you, you
it's a
kind of do need to
protocol.
show
It
them
looks
some
good in
respect.
front of the patients. I think the people like it when you're referred to as doctor, such and such, rather than
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. So that's what I think Ruby Rose has done basically. But at the same time, I kind of think like Dougray Scott. I was reading a bit about him because I was kind of thinking, does Dougray Scott has he got a name for doing stuff like this there? And I've been reading, he's had like this on multiple sets where
Oh,
he's
really?
acted like a yeah. So I kind of think, okay, yeah, maybe he has been acting like that, and maybe the Lucius Fox guy is like, this is my first job. I'm just gonna kiss
Yeah.
ass basically because now they could turn me into Batwing. I could be the star of the show. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
could get my own spin at
Rather than
fucking.
Bat.
That's it. He's
You
thinking,
know what
yeah,
I mean? He's being clever about it, right? So
exactly.
that's the kind of thing. But yeah, sounds absolutely horrendous. You worked on a production once, right? Was it ever as chaotic?
I've done it only like short films and stuff, and we laugh about this. You could ask him next time you see him, but Salem was the biggest dick. No, yeah, Salem did get a bit of the power did go to his head a little bit. A
Okay.
mutual friend of ours, guys, and he did go a little crazy. He was okay with me, but he was snappy at a lot of people there. So you can see
Oh
how it could happen.
man. Yeah, you can imagine the director like, but I don't know if the director's going off on one. Is that kind of, but the thing is like, I kind of think if there's going to be injuries and stuff that is going on, you gotta kind of stop and say like, if this, if I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's basically like a stunt woman has on a crappy show like Batwoman,
Oh
like literally that
no,
nobody watches.
God.
It's not like this happened, say, I don't know, on the set of Avatar or something like that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Endgame or something, like the biggest selling film ever. This
Mm.
happened on some crappy show, and you're a stunt woman and you're paraplegic, man. That basically means you can never do your job ever
Yeah,
again, right?
which you loved.
The thing about this, and the thing that they didn't actually, the reason why I have a tendency to believe Ruby Rose is that Warner Brothers didn't deny the fact that they told the stunt woman that it was not their fault and they were trying to get out of it, because she alleges that they're trying to get out of paying her for the thing, and they're saying that basically it's her kind of fault of the way that she did the stunt.
Well, that's what I'm saying with Ruby. She should have stopped at the safety stuff because no one could dispute that that was what was happening. Like multiple people got hurt. Someone had, third degree burns across their body and all of that. Like all of these things were for real. It's just once she kind of started chatting about the other actors, it exposed her own issues and her own behavior that wasn't acceptable. Thinking that she was this big star when she can't act. She's terrible. Now she's on that Seagal level of doing these VOD movies that no one wants to watch.
Yeah, that you turn on Amazon Prime or whatever. There's like 3 or 4 Ruby
No,
Rose films where she's just like a bodyguard or something, or just
no.
like shooting people or whatever. I don't know what that is. Literally like talking about Seagal. Somebody did an Ask Me Anything kind of thing. They were, I think it was from Venom. Somebody from Venom did like an Ask Me Anything on there, right?
Mm.
And basically, I have these things on Reddit. You can ask them any questions, and they'll tell you all about the production and all that kind of stuff, right? And apparently, this person who's from Venom is some like producer or whatever. Didn't answer half the questions, and people were cussing it like mad, saying like this is one of the worst AMAs ever. And then somebody posted on there saying, no, this is the worst AMA ever, and then left this link on there. So I clicked on this link, and it's Steven Seagal's Ask Me Anything. And it says on top, it says, I am Steven Seagal, right? I'm Steven Seagal, star of this, bloody bar. Ask me anything. the questions on there, mate. If you ever bored and you just think, let me just have a little laugh. People are writing stuff like, when you had that person down in the dungeon, they're asking me questions like that, like, how when you go on a set, do you purposely act like a dick, or just like continuously asking him questions like this? When you accused of raping a minor and just stuff like this,
he should do, man. It was obviously, who's the PR company that handles him? Because they should have known that he's one of those people you don't expose like that. They can't handle that sort of situation.
So basically, he didn't answer 99% of the questions and left after like 20 minutes of the questions. So yeah, man, but it's just hilarious. The question that people were asking, just brilliant, man. Just like, just ripping him so hard, man. I'd love to see him like do. Come out with some like ridiculous in a ridiculous franchise or whatever, just to kind of just act like an idiot.
And I don't say this often. He's worse than The Rock when it comes to that sort of thing, in terms of the control freak and how they're perceived. Yeah, he can never be part of a franchise because his control would make it a complete disaster from the get-go.
Yeah. Just and do you know his do you know the reason why he got into film in the first place? Right. Okay. So the reason why he got into film in the first place is there was this producer, right? He had a bet, and this guy actually did an interview because on this AMA, there's a link to this interview. Sorry, guys, we're not talking about DC Marvel though, but this is interesting, right? So there's a link on this thing, and basically this guy did an interview. He was a very famous producer at the time. He had a bet with Joel Silver, who was another famous director producer at the time, that they Joel Silver said to him, I bet you cannot get the most uncharismatic, most shittest actor you've ever seen in your life and make him a #1 star on the film, right? And that producer guy said, I bet you I can, right? So he found the guy who was teaching him what does he teach? It's not jujitsu, it's something else. Aikido. Steven Seagal was teaching him Aikido at the time, and he goes to him, do you want to be in a film? And he made Steven Seagal the main star of this film, right? And basically then made him the main poster of multiple films going from that. So it was literally a bet between this producer guy and Joel Silver to say he could get the worst possible person as a main
should be punishable by prison time, man, because they create a monster. They created someone who has made many people's lives a misery. Many women, many stuntmen who end up in the hospital because of this fool. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, even like kids he was working with and stuff, like very questionable kind of behavior that he was doing with these like, kids in films and stuff like that. Just wrong behavior, basically.
Now he just likes to hang out with Putin in Russia doing God knows what. Oh man, yeah, just
just the wrong guy, man. So let's go to our mutual kind of thing that me and Ed's kind of coming together on, which is Star Wars, right? And there's been some interesting kind of things. We've got Cassian Andor apparently has got Snoke in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's got Andy Serkis listed in it, which potentially is Snoke, and also Hayden Christensen returning as Anakin, they're saying in the Hollywood Reporter. So not as Darth Vader, but actually as Anakin in the Ahsoka production. So Snoke first. Do you want to see more of Snoke?
I feel there's still a lot to be told with him because he wasn't a character that got a lot of explanation as to his backstory. It was alluded to him being a clone of some sort and all of this, but yeah, I think because Andor takes place like I don't know how many years in the past. I kind of forgotten where it's at. But yeah, I think it's a good starting point to really kind of show what the hell was going on in his creation. So yeah, I think that's actually good for him to be up into that.
I was a bit more interested before when he was this mysterious character. When they kind of revealed him as like he was just a messed up clone of Palpatine, now I'm just like, oh, do I really want to know anymore? I kind of want to see like how he decided to wear this like the funky funky dressing gowns.
Well, maybe that
Like
will be
why
explained. Maybe we'll have a
why
scene of him
just-
shopping, seeing the selection. That's what we need.
why he decided on that style, and why he got the scars on his face, and that might be interesting.
Exactly.
Now the other thing is like showing Hayden Christensen as Anakin in there. He could thinking about it, like he can't come in the past because we got Rosario Dawson, who is a lot older, and when she was Ahsoka, Force Ghost, yeah,
exactly. Yes,
so
to come to her in the vision as a Force Ghost.
Well, that's the thing. Is like she's at the end. She's going to try and find Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's her thing. She's like, I'm going to go to find Thrawn, and Thrawn is the guy who basically disappeared with Ezra Bridger. So the question is, are they going to bring Ezra Bridger into that? I have no idea. But now Filoni is in on this. Who's who's made Rebels and stuff. Potentially there is that kind of thing of kind of bringing all these things there together. So are you glad Hayden Christensen's come back and had a second chance in life?
I'm going to be charitable and say, just give this guy a chance, man. He hasn't come out of the whole Star Wars thing unscathed. Like his career is pretty much just been, DOA. He's done a few things, but yeah, the stink of those prequels has really kind of flatlined him. So I'll give him a chance to kind of redeem himself. Let's see it. Let's do it. Let's just bring him back.
Just give him a chance to. Yeah, exactly. Say, look, mate. You're here as as Anakin rather than Darth Vader.
Chance to prove you can act.
Yeah, exactly. Because some of those films afterwards, not great, man. Not great.
From friggin' the second one, bad.
No, well, yeah, even including those. But then I kind of give him a pass for that because a lot of that is George Lucas's script, which is like so horrendous.
Yeah.
So if the script is that bad, what could you do with it?
But, you need hands up. Jumper is a guilty pleasure for me. I enjoy that film. I know it's not good, but I do kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, Jumper is one of those things. I think when they were trying to get the Billy Elliot guy to be in films, they were kind of like, let's put him in some stuff. But that guy unfortunately never really made it, did he? Jamie Bell. Too small. He came around too early. He would have been Spiderman instead of Tom Holland.
Definitely. I think that's the thing. If you're small, you'll either can be a superhero like Spider-Man, or that's it. Because we've already got a Tom Cruise. Don't need another one. That's it.
Or he should have roided himself out of his skull and then became Wolverine. Like literally, just like the comic book Wolverine. Like literally, just roided. So he's so huge, and he literally just can only play that role.
When are they bringing the X-Men back? I'm tired of this waiting. I'm tired of this. Like they've locked it away in a cupboard and they've nothing with this.
What? Why are you messing around with the Turtles when we could have bloody X-Men in there in the first place? Nobody gives a shit about the Eternals.
I think it's Favreau wanting to stick it to Pearl Mother because of the one that Pearl Mother wanted to make. They made into the TV show.
Oh, what was it called?
Yeah, those guys.
With Black Bolt and
I won't say the names. Yeah, them guys.
Yeah. Those ones were not great. Those ones are not great.
Yeah, that was Pearl Mother's pet project that he wanted to make as a movie, but ended up making it as a TV show when he got cast out. And I think this is Feige's way of saying, well, this is easy. Look at me, I can do it with someone that nobody else knows.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just bring the X-Men into it, man. I just really would just rather. And also, Ryan Reynolds before he gets too old, man. I kind of noticed in his last couple of films, he started to reach that edge. He's getting up to the top, and it's like, mate, he's getting. He's like our age, and he's kind of just he's tipping over that.
His stick's getting a bit played out. Like I don't mind Blair. I enjoy the thing, but because he is the same in everything he does, it kind of gets a bit worn out. So go away for a little bit until that last. Because it's all right with Deadpool because he's covered in makeup and stuff, and he's got a mask, so it covers a lot of those issues.
Yeah. Bring him in. Just let him do his thing there. But yeah, we need a little bit of time off. He's taking time off anyway. He's taking like a year off. He said, right? So, he's it's probably a good.
He's got a bloody football club. Him and one of the actors
Oh
from
yeah.
Always Sunny. They own a bloody
They
football
bought a
club.
football club. It's like Warsaw or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Welsh club.
It's like in what's it called? It's like in the second division or something.
Yeah.
It's not even in the championship. It's literally like the second division. Like really got.
And they've actually been turning up to games. Like, what the?
Yeah.
So
yeah. There was a thing I saw in the newspaper. They were getting well excited because they bought a new scoreboard that was like £1,500, and they're getting well excited because they've not had a new scoreboard for years. And Ryan Reynolds and this other guy bought a scoreboard, and they haven't even got a box. It's like one of these like budget clubs where you like stand right next to everyone else. It's just jokes, man. It's absolute jokes.
This is the Ted Lasso effect. I swear, everyone just wants to own a football club now. And
but the thing is, what they should do is in clubs like that, they should just bring like golden oldies characters, like like footballers who are like 40, who are kind of just past it, but still have the skill to compete in the second division.
Yeah,
they should bring those kind of dudes in.
You've been watching Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso, no, I saw a couple of them. That's the one where the guy takes over a football club, and it's like, I've seen a lot of adverts now because they're saying it's one of those ones where actually the footballers actually like it. So
it's a good
yeah. So yeah, it's it could be interesting to kind of. What is it on? Is it on Sky? Is it on
Apple?
Apple, okay, or other means,
or
as it were.
Yeah.
So, or other means.
Wink.
So, wink, yeah. So yeah. Let's get on to our final kind of topic, man. We're talking about games last time, and we talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which hadn't come out at that time. And I was just saying that basically all I can do, because I don't have a PS5, is actually to watch other people play the games, right? So I've been watching this guy playing Guardians of the Galaxy. What me and the kids have. Mate, that game looks flipping amazing. It looks really entertaining for what it actually is.
I haven't bought it, but I have knocked about on it at a friend's house, and it is actually not bad. What really impresses me is what I didn't like in the original previews, the trailers. I wasn't feeling the dialogue and the humor of it, but once you're actually in the game, their little banter back and forth, it's actually really good, and there's a lot of it. Like, that script must have been huge because they never shut up. Never shut up. It's just constant.
That's the thing that I was seeing from the guy who's playing, is literally the script just looks like it just keeps going on and on, and it is quite interesting. It's like full of action. They've got each character doing their own thing and stuff like that. It's and it seems linear as well. It's like one of those things where they've really kind of made an effort on the one player part of the story, which they don't often do nowadays, man. So if I had a PS5, I'd probably get that, to be honest.
It's actually quite fun. I don't like Peter Quill. He's my only issue, like the character model with the quiff and everything. I'm not a fan of that. But everything else, it's actually fun. Controls well, action is good. It looks bloody good, bro. Great, like
it looks great. Yeah,
nice. I want that shit. I want to actually run around at Milano.
Yeah. This is the thing. Like, I sometimes say to like mates, like, we were born at the wrong time, man. Because like in 100 years' time, instead of everybody having cars, everybody's gonna have a little spaceship, right? Yeah. This is gonna be like, what I mean? Do you want to go to the playground on Mars, or what I mean? Yeah, let's go to Mars for the weekend and stuff like that.
Cryogenic freezing.
I can't be bothered for that, man.
Let's do it.
Mate, knowing me, I'm gonna wake up in a dystopian future.
Awesome. It'll be so cool. We can live out Mad Max.
It'll be so dystopian, man. It'll just be like, oh God, why? It'll be like
China runs the world.
I'll probably end up waking up in one of those like like the new Total Recall. It'll be something like that.
Yeah.
Or just like, or I'll end up living in one of those in the stacks like in in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
I'd be one of those people in there. I'll be living in the stacks, man. That's basically what it would be. But yeah, so yeah, we didn't have, it wasn't a question, but we did have a comment that was made on our Facebook page from our podcast from a guy called Mo, and I kind of messaged the guy afterwards to say, look, mate, don't take it the wrong way of what I was saying, because I kind of read it back and thought, okay, if you don't understand my humor, you're probably going to think it's quite harsh what I was kind of saying. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked a bit about the Snyder Cut and how I particularly said that I didn't like the Joker scene. When he's talking about reach arounds and stuff like that, and I just thought it was one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in DC ever, right? And having watched it again now over the last week, which I felt bad because Ed said he's watched it multiple times.
Ridiculous. Yeah, the Marvel guy.
Yeah,
DC
guy. So having watched it again, I stand by it, and I even expand upon it, that I hate that scene more than anything. So Mo, he obviously listened to our podcast and said, you guys, and I say you guys because he said you guys, but he means me, not Ed's, because Ed didn't say this, right? Don't know anything. You're insulting that scene that Zack Snyder made. The scene is actually a scene from Injustice comic books. Do you not read comics, right? So at that point, I was kind of like, mate, no, don't do this to me. Yeah. So I just wrote, bro, it's kind of funny you say that, because Joker dies in like the first book of Injustice, right? So I don't know how he's going to be in this scene with in this, and his reply was like, oh, you just don't like Snyder. So I did message him afterwards and say, mate, you kind of don't, it was just meant to be a joke, whatever. I could probably
doesn't sound to me he said anything wrong there. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It's okay to watch a film and for there to be a scene that we don't like. That's okay, and just to accept that someone doesn't like that particular scene, like just to say that, to a blanket statement like, "Oh, you must hate Zack Snyder." And I have issues with certain things that he has a habit of doing, but overall, I enjoy the aesthetic of what he does. But that scene, not good. At least I say the dialogue of that interaction. Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's actually a new post that has come on on the Facebook page there, which came this morning, which has stirred up a lot of people just like were saying stuff, which I actually wrote on there. Was like, mate, you need to kind of check yourself and basically like see what the hell is wrong with you, because this guy wrote this thing basically saying like why everybody should boycott the new Batman film, saying that basically everybody should boycott the Batman film and basically sit behind, restore the Snyder Cut, and just like literally just if you don't watch any of those films, then they're going to bring back the Snyder's Justice League. The guy called Toby. But the thing is, a lot of people did the work there for me because they didn't actually they hadn't actually I didn't really need to say anything about that, because most people already said kind of like, what's the matter with you? One guy actually said a really good kind of thing, which is like, if you come and say that and you basically don't watch the movies, all you're telling a studio is this particular character off Batman is not a bankable product, and they're not going to produce any more Batman films. They're not going to suddenly say, oh, let's go back to Zack Snyder and let's get him to make the Justice League films. People literally don't understand the way that businesses work at all. It's like crazy. So kind of thanks to everybody who came back and said something about it, because I don't want to seem like the type of person who's like rude to like people who post on our Facebook page, because I'm not. It's just like, if you say something that's very wrong, then I'm kind of just see, mate, you shouldn't really be saying that. Like, So yeah, nobody ever says anything bad about the Marvel films. They're all like, Marvel fans are always behind this and blah blah. Like we get stuff on there, like we got stuff about the Eternals, and somebody wrote on there like everybody should just go and see this film because it's a Marvel film and it basically shows that you like Marvel and you're supporting Marvel,
Kumbaya,
right?
my friend, kumbaya.
Right. So and as opposed to the DC ones, which are like destroy everything apart from Snyder's work,
It
man,
is
which
an
is like,
interesting social experiment to see how the two groups of fans kind of carry themselves a little differently. Like when things are bad,
yeah,
everyone turns on each other. Rather, there should be more. DC fans should be more united and supporting their films, but it's crazy.
yeah. Seeing the fact that DC invented the multiverse, it's like surely we should think in comic book films that we can have different versions of different characters multiple times and nobody should get angry about it. The argument that I have against people who are like real Snyder fanatics now is that they seem to have turned into everything that they wanted to stop. So their argument was that the MCU was the same in every single film, and they wanted something different. But because people want the same in every film, they didn't like the Snyder cut, right? Um, but then it's like if you keep saying to other people, "We don't want your version of this film because we only want Snyder's Justice
Yeah,
League," you've turned
exactly the same.
into those.
Exactly the same. Yes. I don't pay attention to a lot of those people because I swear they're the exact same people that used to defend Michael Bay back in the day in Transformers. It's the same group of people. I swear they are.
I would. Do you know what? That would be very interesting to find out. Actually, are the same group of people. Wow, that would be very, very
Yep. They
interesting. I
just
wonder
have
if
a
somebody
new
could do that.
hero. They went from Michael Bay and they found themselves a new hero in Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, Zach stuff is fine, but he seems to be over it as well. He seems to
Yeah.
not really want to go back to it either. So why are you forcing him to go back to that project? You should be supporting his new stuff. You know what I mean? So just it's fine, whatever. So anyway, guys, if you want to join into those conversations, that the flowery rainbow, sunshine bits of the MCU, and also the dark clouds and the rain and the thunder of DC, you can do on our Facebook page there now, which is DC versus Marvel podcast. You could also email us on dcvsmarvelpod@gmail.com. As always, you can catch Ed's on the other podcast that he's on.
Talking at the movies. Go check it out, guys. Show us some love on all podcasting platforms. And I'm going to try and get a video of this up as well because kind of rejigged. So yeah, Voltron Network on YouTube. Back at it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm been meaning to now, guys. I'm going to get up. I'm going to put monthly updates on my graphic novels now because I've just got so many and just like nobody's updating doing anything about the Batman DC novel collection. So I will do it and I'll put it up on there and I'll give reviews for you guys so you can see what's up.
10-minute reviews would be cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, guys, give us some love on those platforms and we'll see you again next time.
There you guys.